best way to deal with underlying drivers of conflict is to address things like, for example, historical trauma, the fear and the suspicion, and the images of enemies. And so theater becomes a metaphor for that, to kind of access aspects of human experience that may not necessarily be accessed using very rational processes. Of course, rational processes like mediation, dialogue, engagement are very critical, but where there is trauma and fear and historical divisions, they fall flat on their face, right?
We give them a platform to critically look at their life, to critically ask questions, because the minute we stop asking questions to ourselves, whether what we're doing, what we are living, where we're heading, the way we accept like fait accompli ideas, or the way we deal with them, then we're dead in terms of our in philosophy, and in terms of our passion, and in terms of our role and approach to life.
So this theater is a place of meeting. And it sounds very simple, but the reality outside is very different, especially in the last 2 years. People come after the show and say, we didn't know the Arabic, such a musical language, so beautiful. So many words are very similar to Hebrew. So people can meet and listen to the Arab or the Palestinian narrative without judging. But when you come to theater, different from when you come to political discussion, you say that in theater you leave your thoughts outside the theater and you are exposing yourself for something to experience. So people say that they hear the stories of Palestinians and they can feel empathy with them.
So it was such a nourishing and also genuine environment to interact with each other and maybe address the issues that would have been much more difficult to address in a formal setting like a conference room or a formal, panel discussion or anything. But I think it was very generative process and very transformative in terms of the personal transformation of those who were involved. Because I witnessed the continuous friendship and continuous relationship between some of the women. They were seeking opportunities to connect again. They were in touch with through social media, even though they don't speak the same language. They kind of use Google Translate to communicate. And a few of them visited each other a few times afterwards. So it was really nice to see that it was not a one-off thing.
One of the important things I learned from those stories is that when you're working and making attempts at reconciliation, the form of the work, in this case it was ritual, was really important because the rituals were part of what was violated in the original injury of colonialism. And so to engage in reconciliation through ritual was in and of itself an aspect of transitional justice accomplished, Whereas if you invite people into, let's say, courtrooms or tribunals, those can be important too, but they don't have this particular resonance. It's not that the resonance they have is also important, but it's not quite the same as actually honoring the forms of knowing and ways of being that were violated in the original injury.